I'd like to open the public hearing section of the Warrenton Board of Aldermen meeting for the discussion of the annexation of Interstate 70 and the surrounding right-of-ways west of the western city limits.
I'll be
Mr. Gravel.
presenting.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. We have on the agenda for tonight the public hearing regarding the next phase of annexation westbound. This annexation, the purpose of it is, purpose of the annexation of Highway 70 and the surrounding right-of-ways is to preserve the city of Warrenton's historic and rural characteristics while providing orderly development of the impending industrial and commercial growth along the Interstate 70 corridor. The city intends only to annex Interstate 70 and the surrounding right-of-way, not to annex any private property. I would ask for purposes of this public hearing that the packet that has been provided to the board and made available to the public tonight be made a part of the record by this reference. Plan of intent includes the existing land that the city already has, the proposed land to be annexed, the water and sewer service, fire protection, police protection, parks and recreational services that will be provided, other municipal services, taxation, zoning, and the effective date. If this is approved, we will then proceed with getting it approved for a resolution to put it on the ballot for the next April election. Is that right, Melanie? November election. Is there any questions at all?
Anybody?
Nothing further.
Anybody from the public have any questions or comments? Okay. With that, I'll draw the public hearing to a close, and I will open the August 4th, 2015 Warrenton Board of Aldermen meeting at this time. If we would all rise, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda would be, I'll entertain a motion to approve the regular board meeting minutes from July 21st, 2015.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Frederick, seconded by Alderman Ock. Could I have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Dreyer.
Yes.
Alderman Frederick. Alderman Holly.
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly.
Yes.
Alderman Ock.
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Next item on the agenda will be the approval for the executive session minutes for July 21st, 2015.
Motion for approval of the executive session minutes from July 2012.
Second.
21st, 2015.
Motion made by Alderman Ock, seconded by Alderman Deloy. If I could have a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Frederick.
Yes.
Alderman Holly.
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly.
Yes.
Alderman Ock.
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Yes.
Alderman Dreyer.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Next item on the agenda will be entertaining motion to approve the special board meeting minutes from July 24th, 2015.
Make a motion that we approve the special board meeting minutes from July 24th, 2015.
Second.
Motion made by Alderperson Holly, seconded by Alderman Dreyer. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Holly.
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly.
Yes.
Alderman Ock.
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Yes.
Alderman Dreyer.
Yes.
Alderman Frederick.
Yes.
Okay, next item on the agenda will be hearing from the public. We ask that you keep your comments down to 5 minutes, and please approach the podium, state your name, and then speak to us about anything that you need to speak to us about. All right. Not seeing anyone, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Next on the agenda would be comments from the Board of Aldermen. Anyone? Okay. Moving on to the next one, would be the mayor's comments. I'm going to keep mine very brief. I appreciate all the cooperation. I think sometimes isn't recognized by the board. We really work hard on a lot of things. I think the special meeting we had was part of that, as well as seeing some of the Aldermen making a lot of the meetings in the public that the public is asking for is great encouragement to me, and I just wanted to let you guys know I do appreciate it, and I think it needed to be made public that I do appreciate the fact that you guys are showing up to certain meetings and being involved in it. Not that I don't expect anything others, but it is nice when we see more than just one Alderman show up, and I appreciate that, guys. But with that, I'd also like to open this up to Chief Howdyshell. We've had some issues, and I think he would like to address some of those issues with the presentation he has.
Thanks, Mayor. Good evening, Board. I think as Lieutenant Ellard alluded to at the last board meeting when he sat in for me, the police department has taken on operations out on Interstate 70. And since we started doing that, apparently there's quite a few questions out in the community, and rightly so. We have never done that, and so now there's an opportunity here to answer some of those questions. And I think the biggest one is you hit F5, and then the space bar. There you go. So the biggest question is why? Why are we out there? And it's really kind of a two-pronged reason. Reason one being safety, and reason two being the drug issue. Certainly the drug issue is the more important one, but I'm going to address safety first. I'll show you a chart here in just a second, but basically taking a look at the numbers, and I went all the way back to 2002, it's clear that the crash numbers out on the highway, as well as the intensity of crashes and the seriousness of crashes, have increased many-fold since 2002. And again, that's just the numbers that I had available to me to look at, and I'll show that to you in a second. And the other thing is the sort of misconception that the highway patrol can take care of the highway. And certainly they're capable of doing that, but they're stretched very, very thin. It's probably not widely known, but in this county, there's usually only one and sometimes two troopers on countywide. Countywide, one or two. And there are actually times of day when there's not a trooper available at all, usually at night. So they're stretched out over 300, 400 square miles. The interstate, although a priority for them, is not their only priority. So with that being said, having 7 miles or more of the highway, nearly a third of the highway that's in Warren County lying within the city of Warrenton, sort of makes sense for us to take some responsibility for the safety of that portion of the highway. Something else anecdotally that I said, and kind of reminds me, Tim, of the first meeting that I sat in here as the chief of police, and that is that bad guys drive cars. And that's sort of been my mantra right from the beginning. I've always been a traffic guy, and I've always seen the benefit of doing traffic because we identify the bad guys that are out driving cars. Without making traffic stops, we're really not doing that. One perfect example of that is the major meth bus that you guys issued commendations for. That guy drove into town on I-70. And it was through a really good detective work that we found that out, but that could have just as easily been a traffic stop or an interdiction stop out on the highway. If you could go to that next slide, just so I can show this chart. This chart depicts, as I said, the numbers, and I got these numbers from the State Highway Patrol crash reports. This is basically the STARS reporting that gets reported into them all the time. The line at the top is actually Missouri 47, and those are the crashes occurring starting in 2002 and ending in 2014. And that bottom line, the one that's trending up, is I-70. And oddly enough, they cross over, and the crashes out on I-70 have surpassed the number of crashes that we work on 47. So clearly that's, from a safety standpoint, that's an issue. And why, one of the reasons why we're out there working. So the big reason, though, drug interdiction. Go to the next slide, please. So since 2010, we have had 13 deaths in this city that are attributable to drugs of some sort. Most of those are heroin, some of them are prescription drugs, but the vast majority are heroin. Most of those drugs, the vast majority of it, are coming out of St. Louis, and they pass through here, a good majority of them pass through here on Interstate 70, headed to St. Louis, or coming back to Warrenton from St. Louis. So really what our main focus is here is this drug thing. The more stops we make, the more apt we are to find drugs out on the highway, and the officers that we're putting out there are going to be interdiction trained officers, so they'll know specific things to be looking for when they make these stops. But this is just another layer. I mean, if we go back and sort of review all of the things that the police department and the city are doing to combat the problem, joining the East Central Drug Task Force a couple years ago, supporting Jordan's Place, our detectives being involved in large-scale conspiracy investigations now, the community service people that our patrol guys supervise, the ride-along program that Chris kind of got started to help with the young offenders, the young drug offenders, to just kind of help them change their channel. We're doing that. We've got Explorers going on. The Citizens Police Academy just wrapped up. It was hugely successful. We only had 9 people, but man, they all came away with that with the right idea. And one of the things that they said was, we really came to realize that your police officers are a lot more professional than we realized. So, I want to move that professionalism and really work that towards affecting the drug thing. So again, us being out there on the highway is just another layer to our personal drug war here in the city. We have a procedure in place that requires that the officers that are going to be out there are properly trained. Can you give me that next slide, please? And when I say properly trained, I mean it's a little bit different when you're in a high traffic environment trying to run radar than it is on a city street or even 47 highway. So we're going to make sure that they're good to go there. It's also a lot different making that stop in a high traffic environment. So Sergeant Sullivan has had substantial experience there. I've had substantial experience there. So we're going to make sure that those guys are good to go before they get out there. And then, as I said a minute ago, the drug interdiction issue, we're going to make sure that these guys have good interdiction training. We may even work with St. Charles County Police. That's what they do in Forestell all the time, is drug interdiction. That's what they're sitting there doing, just looking for cars going by that sort of fit the profile. Okay. I also heard some things about, are there going to be speed traps or, whatever. Well, in my world, a speed trap is a place where the highway changes speed, and the cops sit right on the other side of that speed limit change. There's nowhere on Interstate 70 that it's anywhere less than 70 miles per hour, at least in our venue. So that's not going to happen. We're also not going to be hiding in the bushes. When we're out there, we're in a fully marked police car, running radar or looking for other violations. I actually went out there on Friday just to see how it was, to see how it compares to my past experience. And, one of the stops I made was a guy that was following too close. He was less than a car length away from the back end of an 18-wheeler. Super dangerous. These are the kinds of things that cause the crashes on the highway. With that being said, I think I've kind of covered the points that I wanted to make tonight. Are there any other questions that I can answer here at this juncture?
Yeah, are there other cities doing this? I mean, typically we think of Forestell and we think
Sure.
of it in terms of speed traps, but I've noticed going in the mornings that generally Wentzville is out in the interstate now.
Right.
Is that becoming more of a pattern for communities that are interstate?
Yeah, I think
towns?
there's been a push on the part of the state, actually, certainly DPS, to get out of the interstates and try to make a difference. So, Wentzville is out there, O'Fallon is out there, St. Peter's is out there. You go down 64, you'll see Lake St. Louis, you'll see O'Fallon. You get into the city and, pretty much everybody is out there in St. Louis County, but, St. Charles County has really embraced being out on the interstate as well.
If there was a accident on the interstate and there was no highway patrol around or there was no county people around, would the city respond to the accident anyway?
Yeah, we've actually been doing that for 6 years.
Yeah, so if that's not something new, responding to accidents on the interstate.
Not a bit.
Okay.
And, you know, and one of the things that really kind of spurred that was, you know, I would sit in traffic personally for an hour coming from Wentzville, only to discover that the reason I was sitting in traffic was because there was a broken down vehicle in our venue that they were waiting for a highway patrol car to show up on. And if they're coming from Marthasville, you know, they're not responding in an expeditious manner to get to that. It's not really an emergency. So they get there when they get there. Well, in the meantime, traffic backs up, and you're an hour in traffic waiting for that to clear. When we're 5 minutes away, we go out and clear it, and traffic is rolling again.
And the accident's 15 miles that way.
Exactly, exactly. So, I mean, there's a myriad of reasons why it's good for us to be there, mostly because we're right here, and we can get out there and handle it and get it cleared and get traffic rolling again.
One of the bullet points here says this will only happen when zones are properly covered. Could you kind of explain to the public what that means?
Sure. Yeah. So the city really, from a police standpoint, is split into two zones, kind of a north zone and a south zone. You know, and proper staffing is, you know, at least one car covering each of the zones, and they pretty much stay home in that zone all day. If that condition doesn't exist and they have a supervisor, we are not going to be conducting operations out on the interstate. So we want to make sure that you know, there's proper patrol coverage before we even entertain going out on the interstate.
So this doesn't diminish the coverage that's currently in the city limits at the time?
No, not at all. And you know, part of every officer's job function is the traffic function. So this just gives them another area to sort of concentrate on, you know, concentrate their efforts. And again, just for special officers who have the training to get it done, you know, it just opens up another area for them to go and look for violators.
So the fourth bullet point here talks about generally for limited random times during an officer's shift. So is there some kind of guidelines? Obviously, we're not going to put another officer simply to sit on the highway for an entire shift. I would assume that's what that means.
Right. But with that being said, you know, if I could afford to put a full-time guy out there doing drug interdiction, I would absolutely do that. You know, the city isn't in a position to do that right now. But yeah, you know, we're not going to spend hours and hours and hours out there. This is going to be, again, traffic is a function of every officer's job. And, you know, he will spend some of that time on the interstate trying to make a difference. Anything else?
I appreciate you bringing this to the public. I mean, we've all received this feedback
Sure.
already, and people can complain all they want, thinking they're getting speeding tickets. I know when I go through Forestell, I know they're looking for drugs, and everybody's slowing down and makes it a little safer
Right.
anyway. But if one life is saved, there's not one mother in Warrenton who's lost her kid that would complain about you on the
I agree.
highway. So for those people that are complaining that the cops are just writing tickets, I'd like them to consider their children and how they would feel if their child was dead from drugs.
That's a great point, and I appreciate you making it.
Yeah, and my comment, I've had 4 or 5 inquiries from the public, and only one I would say is negative on it. Most of the people are just curious to know what is going on. They want to have some comfort level that they're not sacrificing home protection for somebody sitting on the interstate. I think you kind of explained that. And for the most part, people, you know, with one exception or one group of people, this hasn't been an issue that I've heard a lot about.
Good.
From a negative perspective.
Well, and you know, if it turns out to be, you know, something negative, we'll certainly pull back from it. But you know, we're going to give it some time and see how it works out and see if we make a difference out there. I think we will ultimately. So, good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for
Appreciate it.
bringing that up.
Anybody else? Questions or comments?
I probably have one more comment. You know, I commute a lot on the interstate, and maybe this is a perspective people don't understand who don't commute particularly, but when I hit the city limits of Warrenton on the interstate, I feel like I'm in the city. And if there's something happened, I wouldn't be surprised for a city officer to respond, because that's part of the city. We annex it because it's part of the city.
Right.
And so, from my perspective, when I hit that city limits, I'm in Warrenton. I don't make the differentiation if am I on the interstate or I'm not. I'm in Warrenton. So that's my perspective.
And there's nothing worse than being 3 miles from home and sitting for 4 to 6 hours.
All right. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Moving on, the next item on the agenda would be the traffic congestion on Dogwood and the Northwood subdivision. Down in Maryland Brewing, if you'd like to come to the podium.
Evening, Mayor, Board of Alderpersons.
How you doing, sir?
My name's Don Broering. I'm here to represent the Isaac Kent Homeowners Association. We've had an issue going on Dogwood for about a year, going on a year and a half. At 32 Dogwood, we have a travel trailer that has taken a personal, permanent residence on the street. It has not turned an inch. The house across the street from it right now is in foreclosure, but for the longest while, we had a fellow that worked for a commercial company. So we had the trailer, some other traffic, the other side of the street, 3-4 vehicles. Now you've got a narrow ingress. Throw on top of that little children. Now it's hard enough to find little children spotted between cars. You throw a big travel trailer up there, now you've got a really big blind spot. My wife took the liberty to talk to Alderman Deloy, and we need to bring it forward. Now, in conversation with some individuals at the city, one of the things thrown out is, well, let's just ban parking on one side of the street. That's not going to fix it. First of all, why would you penalize a neighborhood for the basically disregard of one individual? This probably has occurred in other places. It's something that up till now wasn't an issue on Dogwood. A lot of municipalities do have limitations. You can only park those types of vehicles there for a certain period of time in days, consecutive days, days within a year, days within a month, a lot of different ways to approach it. But the way it is right now, it is a dangerous situation. In all honesty, I had hoped last winter the problem would be resolved by a snowplow, but that didn't happen.
Oh, and then we'd be in trouble.
You know, you'd be in trouble, but if the side of that trailer disappeared, it probably would have gotten moved. It's not that the guy doesn't have the ability to park it off the street. You know, the thing is, whatever framework you consider to look at, we don't want to, I don't think we should penalize a person for getting ready for a trip, on vacation, comes home, getting ready to leave, some reasonable period of time that you can have that in front of your residence, but not for a year and a half without turning a wheel. That is a hazard. Yeah. Along with that is it probably doesn't do a hell of a lot for home value either. So that street has gotten, I think, a couple for sale, got a foreclosure. So it's not exactly a great situation, but the safety aspect of it is bad. And I personally am not going to go up and knock on a guy's door. This day and age, you're not too sure what might happen with that. I thank you for your time.
Does the subdivision have covenants and restrictions? that would
Probably
restrict?
not. I think at one time, years back, there was some sort of a homeowners association. I don't know that it exists anymore. I hear some rumors there was wheeling and dealing on some common property, you know. But essentially, I think there's
Okay,
nothing.
I was just curious.
Yeah, no, no. So I was asked to come up here and represent Isaac Kent because we drive, that's whatever ways in and out. You know, the vast majority of traffic's gonna travel on Dogwood. I have the luxury with my driveway, I can go down Redbud. So I can go either way. But again, there's a lot of little kids, and I don't think anybody wants to see EMS out there scraping a kid off the pavement with a scoop shovel. And that's what happened, because it's bad enough. Coupled with that has been the complaint over the years, the intersection at Dogwood, Isaac, and Redbud is habitually, no stop signs are ran. There are people that believe that they are above the law to abide by the traffic laws. I know there's been comments made out of the subdivision, well, we'll just take the stop sign down. Go ahead, go check your traffic laws. You have to stop and yield to a public right-of-way when entering from a private, entering onto a public right-of-way. So you throw that issue in, people that think they're above the law, throw this trailer in there, throw in little children, it is a disaster waiting to happen. Thank you very much.
So, just real quick for you.
Yeah.
Just to wrap this to a head for us, you're just asking us for consideration on possible future ordinances against
I
this
think
type
you
of
probably need to,
situation.
I think you need to you need to visit it, and I'm not at all in favor of trying to penalize one side of the street or the other. For the most part, that street has, over the years, I've been there since '96, yeah, somebody will have a birthday, somebody will have people over, and it pretty much ebbs and flows, and it's not a big problem.
Right.
But it really came to a head when the individual that lost their house across the street, they're putting 3, 4 vehicles, you've got this trailer, a couple others in there. You have another individual that has the attitude, well, if he can do it, then I can park my truck out there. So now you've got a real mess.
We'll definitely take a look at it.
Yeah, like I say, Alderman Delloy's very familiar, he drives past it every day. So, I mean, but I think it needs to be tailored towards the offense, not towards a street or subdivision in particular.
I think also with this, I would like us to, in addition to this, because campers seem to be, that one's legal, my understanding. It's legal because it's got a license, but a legal camper in a driveway is not legal, correct? Which seems to be a little absurd to me. So I think when we're looking at this ordinance in the future, we probably need to consider all avenues regarding that topic.
We like to call those loopholes.
Yes.
No, would you explain it again? So if I have a camper sitting on the grass next to my driveway,
Yeah, you'll get a
it's
ticket.
legal.
No.
But if it's
No,
on the
it's
driveway.
illegal.
It's in the street, it's legal.
It's on the street, it's legal.
Oh,
If it's in
on
the,
the on the driveway,
Driveway's
it's
not.
not.
Sound sort of counterintuitive.
yeah.
But it's one, it's, I mean, that's, and I don't, all I'm gonna say is that this is how we refine ordinances, is by addressing situations that come up. You know, sometimes you can't cover everything, and that's why you amend certain ordinances that encompass certain things.
Exactly, and that's why my wife took the liberty and talked to Alderman Delloy, and it was suggested we bring this before the board, because I think it needs to be visited by the board.
I'm kind of curious,
So-
Bob, what do you see as the solution to this type of situation?
So get them all off the street would be a solution.
Well,
So what would be a,
but what does that look like?
time
What does that look like
Hang
if
on
they
one-
can't?
Hang on one second. Tony.
What would be a reasonable time period that a resident should be able to leave their camper in front of their house or
Well-
on the street?
And to answer a lot of that, I think we need to do more research as a board.
Right,
and come
I'm
back.
just
Well-
curious as a resident, what?
As a resident, I mean, I think offhand, some of the places we lived, they will give you a week, maybe 2 weeks, because the idea behind it is you come home from a trip, it may take you a couple days to unpack it. If you're getting ready to go on a trip, you may want to spend the week prior to your departure. You know, so, yeah, a week, 2 weeks, but not 18 months.
Okay, just curious.
Could you research that for us, Mr. Gravel? I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
So
Thank you.
we'll get back with you when we do some more research, and we'll be able to let you know what we
Thank
can
you.
do. Thank you.
Now
Appreciate
you
it,
have to
folks.
stay for the rest of the meeting.
No, I've done that enough. At least then I was getting paid.
Not much.
Not much.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Next item on the agenda would be
Did you see
the
my notes?
approval for a temporary liquor, or temp liquor by the drink caterer liquor license for Splendid Catering Services LLC. Did I say that properly? Okay. You guys have your information there. I'll entertain a motion unless anybody has questions or comments on that.
So the liquor license is issued to the caterer, not to the event holder? Or the event? Right.
Issue it to the caterer of the business.
Okay.
Do we do that for anybody else?
It's typically like Ron's Catering, they
Okay.
hold the liquor
Okay.
license.
Oh, okay, good.
Because they're the server.
So, unless there's any comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the temp liquor by the drink caterer liquor license for Splendid Catering Services LLC.
So moved.
Second. Motion made by Alderman Ock, seconded by Alderman Frederick. And roll call vote, please.
Alderperson Casterly?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Dreyer?
Yes.
Alderman Frederick?
Yes.
Alderman Holly?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Next item on the agenda would be hearing from our Director of Operations Finance Officer, Terry Thorne.
Thank you, Mayor. My first item this evening is a request for approval for financial advisory services from WM Financial and an engagement agreement for Gilmore and Bell. Both of these are entities that would provide consulting services related to the financing structure or potentials for financing for the interchange that we've recently been discussing.
And there is a resolution later on the agenda for this.
Yes,
We'll address it then.
but wanted to answer.
Yes, if
Any
there's any questions or
questions that the board
comments
might
at this
have.
time. In regards to that? No?
Okay.
All right.
My next item is the Tourism Commission recommendations from their meeting on July 28th. There were two requests, one from the China House Buffet for $600 for reimbursement for a portion of their interstate attraction sign. The other was from the City of Warrenton for up to $2,800, which is for the circus on October 12th. Both of these are the budgeted amounts within the tourism budget.
All right, I'll entertain a motion if there's no questions or comments.
Actually, I have
Sure.
one. So in their letter, they said they request 600, but they would appreciate 400.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what they were addressing there. At one point, tourism's maximum reimbursement for this was 400. In the last couple of years, they've increased that amount to 600 per requester. So I don't know if there was some confusion when they wrote their letter. I don't really have an explanation for that, but 600 is the approved amount from the Tourism
Okay.
Commission contained in their budget.
Just wanted to clarify.
All right. Any other questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion to approve the tourism recommendations in the amount of $3,400.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Holly, seconded by Alderman Dreyer. If I get a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Dreyer?
Yes.
Alderman Frederick?
Yes.
Alderman Holly?
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Next, I have the request for approval to begin the capital project for the Pinckney consideration of a new pool on Pinckney Street at that location. We budgeted $50,000 in this budget, which is the preparation, if you will, for starting to work on a pool project. Marking the property corners, staking, preliminary engineering, and drawings for a new pool would be part of what's included in this cost.
Any questions or comments?
No. I think this is timely. I think this is something we need to start moving on. So I'd make a motion that we would approve the $50,000 for the pool, the Pinckney new pool engineering preparation.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Ock, seconded by Alderperson Casterly. Get a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Dreyer?
Yes.
Alderman Frederick?
No.
Alderman Holly?
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-1.
My next item is a request for approval, again, for the capital project at the Pinckney Street location. We budgeted $75,000 for development of walking trails and a dog park at that location. This also includes clearing, staking, marking of the property corners, fencing, restroom facilities, water and sewer service, drinking fountains, and the like.
Any questions or comments?
Terry, I do have a question. Are we going to take the for sale sign down in the
Yes.
process of this?
I'm not sure why I am sure. We waited for them to get the hay off
Now that's gone, we're in preparation of getting it cleared so we can get to that easily and get it done. I'll make myself a note.
Again, I think this is an important project. This is coming out of sales tax money that was voted on specifically by the taxpayers to do this type of project. So it's not coming out of general revenue. I think if you go up to Binkley Woods and see how well the walking trails are used, I think the extension of these walking trails also gives the public an option to do different things. And with the addition of the dog park, I don't think that there's much added cost at all. I think it just enhances what we're trying to provide as a city. So I'd make a motion that we,
Hang on a second. Is there any other comments or questions?
I don't mind the walking trail part, but I've had a lot of people who said they don't really like having their tax money spent on a dog park for a few people to take their dogs out.
And I'd like to make a comment about that as well, because I've heard that quite a bit. And I've done a lot of research on the dog parks, and community-wide, everybody who's put a dog park in, it's one more added benefit for those residents who maybe can't go swimming, maybe they don't play soccer, maybe they don't play baseball, but they have some athletic things that they like to go do, and they like to go out and work with their dogs. And if you do not have a fenced-in location, you have no area in the city where you can go and work with your dog, exercise your dog. And a dog is a very big piece of a healthy environment in a home. And if you look at the number of households that have dogs, I don't have the number for Warrenton, but nationwide, it's a very large population. I don't know how many here on the board. I know at least 2 of us have dogs. But it's a big part of your family, and it becomes part of your life. And if you're going to build playgrounds for your children, this is a playground for your other child. It's just not a human child. It brings out elderly people who can't necessarily walk their dogs in the park, but they could bring their dog and sit at a park bench and sit and play with their dog. They can be out in public. It's also a great place for people to mingle, get to know each other, and be a part of the community. So it's one more added benefit. And when we talked about this originally, I pointed out to people all of the traffic that we get down Highway 70. If you don't have a dog, you may not realize this, but traveling with a pet is very difficult, and you want to take your pet with you. This is a great opportunity for us to draw people into the city of Warrenton. You advertise a dog park out on the highway, people recognize that. They need a place to go and exercise their dog when they're traveling. So with us being a corridor for travel, this is a great opportunity for us to bring visitors into our town. Here you have a dog park. By the way, grab a hamburger and off you go. And I'm okay with that. We're allowed to do
I
it.
like dogs. I've always had a dog. Mine just recently died, actually. I don't see that somebody driving down the highway is gonna pull over and spend a bunch of money. They're gonna say, take your dog and let it do its business and go.
I guess we just have different dogs.
I'm not a dog person, but I'm backing Karen 100% because I've seen these be very successful in other communities. You go to Wentzville, you go to St. Charles.
A lot bigger towns though, really. I mean, a little town like Warrenton.
This is a
I don't think
very
there's that
small
many
expense. You're
people.
talking about a fence and a little bit of equipment. We're not talking about putting in a recplex for a
And
couple
then
poodles.
you're talking about when they raise taxes for something else and everybody.
No,
just
the
say,
money's
"Well, you
already
spent
there."
a little dog park."
This
And
is,
we can all differ
And
on
they all look at
opinions.
it, no matter what the money was for, that's what people are gonna look at it. That's our tax money going to a chunk of dirt for a dog to run around.
So,
I'm just saying I've had a bunch of people complain about it already.
all right. I've had a bunch of people in favor for it, so we offset each other.
did you
All's
have
good.
something for all in favor?
I just, seems like the expense is negligible. What, is there an exact dollar figure?
It's hard. Terry, do you remember how much it was? But I mean,
don't
you're talking a
remember how
chain
much
link
was
fence.
the trail versus but it's basically a chain link fence, drinking fountains, both for the people and the animal, and some portable restroom facilities.
But you're talking, it's a combination of the walking trail and dog park, not
And
one
the,
or the
yes,
other.
yes, for the restroom facilities.
Is there drinking fountains at Binkley along those walking trails?
No,
No.
I
Up
don't
at the-
believe so.
up at the
But I think
restroom.
there's some at the
Restrooms
restrooms there,
At the restroom.
facility.
and I think that's what we're talking about here, right?
Yes.
It's just drinking that anybody could use.
Yeah.
So,
Any other questions or comments?
We'll
I'll entertain a motion to approve the Pickney Walking Trail and Dog Park project in the amount of $75,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Ock, seconded by Alderperson Holly. Making a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Dreyer,
No.
Alderman Frederick,
No.
Alderman Holly,
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly.
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-2. If anybody would like to comment, you don't have to, but if you'd like to comment on those, you're more than welcome to. Thank you.
My next item is just to make you aware of our promotion booth that we're planning for the Fall Festival. This is something that our consultant on our comprehensive plan will be putting together. Burial will have the booth there, open for public input from noon to 7 p.m. This is yet another attempt to gain as much public input for our comprehensive plan as possible. There was discussion at the PAC meeting recently held about the need to find other ways to get the public involvement, to get them to participate. And this is the opportunity that we will have the largest number of people in one place during the period of our comprehensive plan. So we're going to have a number of drawings that you will be registered for by completion of the survey or whatever the instrument is that Burial will have to gain that input. Drawings every half hour. And at the end, a large drawing at 7 p.m. For two larger items of some sort, perhaps a bicycle and a flat screen TV or something of that nature, so that at the end is the larger drawing. Total projected cost is $1,000 for this promotion, which is well within our budget that we included for the comprehensive plan for public input type events. So really just wanted to make you aware of this. So you knew what they were planning and what we will be doing in order to push that public input forward.
Terry? I'm sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
The public will still be invited to the next public input meeting.
Absolutely.
And this will be promoted at the booth, but knowing that we're gonna have many more people at that event than we would to get them to the next meeting. These giveaways are kind of an attraction to get the people to come to the booth and hopefully give us some input that will be valuable in our next step.
My question was, where's the location of the booth going to be?
I can't answer that. Jessica would know right offhand, but I
Okay.
don't have any
Well,
idea.
I was hoping that maybe our booth was going to be further up the street, is why I was asking that we're.
In a higher traffic
In a
area.
higher traffic area versus down low.
I will ask her that question and bring it back to you next meeting, but I don't have that knowledge
Okay.
as I sit here today.
Okay.
Do you need a motion, or you're just
No,
letting us know?
I don't
Okay.
think so. It's more informational.
Okay.
The next item I have for you is a request for approval of change order number 2 for McGuire Iron. This is the contractor hired to do the tank painting at wells number 4 and 6. If you remember, they had their big apparatus and painted the tower at well number 4. Completed that work back in April. And honestly, we have had difficulty getting them to come back and complete the soil work beneath that tower, get the fence put back up, and get the seeding and mulching done. It came down to the fact that the current contract, starting on August 1st, allowed for $1,000 a day in damages if they did not complete that work. We had to become quite stern with them to get that work done, and in fact, they completed the last of that work on August 1st, early in the morning. As a result of that, we offered to them, in order to avoid $1,000 a day damages from now until the completion of the work at tower number 6, the ability to sign a change order, which causes them to come back in September. Guy did not want to drain the tower at well number 6 during the month of August because it's one of our highest use months for water. So delayed that until September, gave them a 30-day period to complete the work. What we do not want to have happen, because if you remember, number 6 is where we had the situation with the Agape building being involved in that. We didn't want to give them the opportunity to come there and drag that work out for 60, 90, 120 days while the Agape folks are trying to deal with this situation. We made it a very short window of time in the 30-day period, and we increased the damages to $2,000 a day. So we felt like our argument for that was clearly $1,000 a day was not enough incentive to get them back here without us having to have difficulty with them to get that done. So by increasing it to $2,000 a day, our hope is that will give them plenty of incentive to get back here and get the work done as they have contracted to do. So my request is for approval to accept this change order number 2 with McGuire Iron.
Do you have any questions or comments for Joe on this?
Being pretty reasonable.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the change order number 2 for the tank painting at well number 4 and 6 with McGuire Iron Incorporated.
So moved.
Second.
Do I guys decide which one? All right. Motion made by Alderperson Casterly, seconded by Alderman Dreyer. If I give a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Frederick,
Yes.
Alderman Holly,
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly.
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Dreyer.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
And then a couple of things under operational updates. The next public meeting, as Alderman Holly discussed, for the comprehensive plan is September 29th. So please mark your calendars for that. Again, it will be at the high school, but we've delayed the start time to 6:30 so that people have time to get home from work, maybe get their dinner, take care of, kids that have things that need to be done, and maybe be able to make this meeting much easier than something starting earlier. I also have a couple of requests for scheduling. So if you've got your calendars or know what your schedules are, I think we're at a point where we need to have the board, elected officials meet with the MoDOT representatives locally to discuss the interchange project and make sure that we're going to, at best, gain support, at worst, get an agreement that they will not oppose. And I think we need to do that fairly quickly. So the suggested time frame would be sometime during the week of August 10th, which is next week. Probably late afternoon, I would imagine, or very early evening because of the MoDOT staff schedules. I don't know that they will be available for a night meeting, so maybe we could do a 4 o'clock, something like that, if some of you can actually be here on one of those days to meet with them.
Every day but Wednesday for me. I'm good.
I'm not okay Tuesday. We have open house. We're required to be there at school till 7.
Thursday?
That's the only day I'm available.
I'm not available Tuesday or Thursday.
And I'm not sure that, Mayor, depending on how you feel, that it has to be all of you, but I certainly think we need at least a representative group
I think
if we can get
disseminate
it.
a lot of the information out to people that aren't able to attend. I think Terry and I speaking before, we just wanted a core group or even the majority of the board there because, of course, as we see in meetings, there's varieties of questions that can be asked and some that some of us don't think about. So it's good to have that input.
So what day you going?
I think I can make Thursday.
At 4?
Well, I need to call MoDOT and
Tentatively.
offer them a couple of options, I think, to see if that even works in their schedule. But I didn't want to do that until we saw that. So does it seem like on Tuesday or Thursday, we could at least get a few
Well,
people? Is that a true
You
statement?
can't do Wednesday, you can't do Tuesday, Thursdays. Jim, is there any day that's good for you, or is the job kind of conflict?
You know, I work in at night, so, I never know, but sometimes they call me, like tonight, they just call me up. It was slow, so they had me come in, so I can maybe make it and maybe not.
The
Whatever
Tuesday-
night's fine.
I don't think the Tuesday will work because we
Only
got two.
me.
No,
I'm
you
out.
can't either.
So not Tuesday.
I would say probably the Wednesday or Thursday. I mean, you can't make
The
Wednesday.
only time I can make it
But
is
you can't
Thursday.
make Wednesday either, that's right,
No,
I'm
you
sorry.
can't make Wednesday.
Monday, Thursday, or Friday?
I'm fine on Monday.
Anybody have an issue with Friday? If you can do Friday?
I'm out Friday. Out.
Yeah,
Monday?
Monday or Thursday?
Monday or
Monday
Thursday.
or Thursday, okay. All right, and then my next question relates to, the mayor and I have discussed doing an abbreviated planning meeting to talk about the plans at the Pinckney property, perhaps to talk about the interchange discussion. So a limited discussion, because we do have some new board members and because we have new information on these. I think based upon all of your schedules, an evening meeting is going to be best. And if we started perhaps right at 5 o'clock and planned on working 3.5 or so hours, we maybe could accomplish what we need to in an evening meeting. What does the week of September 14th look like for, we have a board meeting that Tuesday, but is there a night that week that perhaps we could do a planning meeting?
I'm available all week.
I would be good except for Thursday.
Okay, no Thursday.
What night are we talking, Wednesday?
Well, the week of the 14th.
Week of the 14th?
of
Monday,
September.
Wednesday.
The meeting on Tuesday.
I have no life that week, so I can read.
So do you want to do Monday before the board meeting on Tuesday? Does that work for everyone?
14th.
On the 14th?
Okay.
Okay.
At what time?
And can everyone be here at 5? And we will provide not pizza,
Thank you.
but something.
I can bring some peanut butter and jelly on top.
We'll bring a big jar of Jif peanut butter and some grape jelly.
Usually 4 or 5.
5 o'clock?
That's portable for everybody.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure. people
Great.
know.
And that is all I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
You are booked.
All right, next item on the agenda would be speaking with Finance Manager Gabrielle Curry.
Good evening. The first item is the accounts payable for June. These are the invoices that were not included in the claims report at the beginning of July. So I'm requesting approval for these. The amount is $42,325.43.
Any questions or comments? All right, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the accounts payable for the fiscal year end of June 30th, 2015, in the amount of $42,325.43.
So moved.
Second.
Both of you two gotta stop this.
I'll take his.
Hey, this is the same ward.
Motion made by Alderperson Hawley, seconded by Alderman Deloy. If I could have a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Holly?
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Dreyer?
Yes.
Alderman Frederick?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
The next item is the list of payments for the July 2015 invoices. That amount is $351,114.28.
Give me that amount again, please.
$351,114.28.
Thank you.
Make a motion for the approval of the bills in the amount of $351,114.28.
28 cents.
28.
That's what's 28. 28.
Motion made by Alderman Ock, seconded by Alderperson Hawley. Taking a roll call vote, please.
Alderperson Casterly?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Dreyer?
Yes.
Alderman Frederick?
Yes.
Alderman Holly?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
And then my last item is the monthly report for the month of June. It does not include the summary and the financial statements since we're going to be doing accruals as part of the fiscal year audit. Do you all have any questions on those? On what was provided?
Next item, thank you. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda will be speaking with the Economic Development Director, Michelle Snippet.
Good evening. I have my monthly report for you this evening.
Any questions or comments on the monthly report?
Got anything new and exciting to announce?
Some really exciting things I cannot
Yeah.
announce at this time.
Darn,
Keeps in suspense.
I know.
Well, I guess the question I have with all the recent announcements of player changes within the group that we're paying dues for, do we have a sense, will there be any impact, one or the other?
We have not had a meeting with the Greater Warren County EDC since that announcement has come out. They have not had their quarterly meeting. That should be coming up in a few months, so we shall see how things work out with that.
Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda would be Chief of Police, Greg Hudisher.
Good evening again. Just a quick blurb about our Craigslist safe zone. Thanks to Guy and his crew, we have painted this big yellow box out by the police car. Basically, this area is under constant video surveillance and is also fairly well lit. We would like to see folks using that for any Craigslist transaction that they want to, but particularly high dollar Craigslist transactions. I provided an article to Jessica to put in the newsletter along with these photos, and also gave this to Tim. I think you're going to run that next week. Yeah. So this is going to be out in the public fairly quickly, and we hope to see it used.
I think this is great, thank you.
Let's promote that to the high school kids, because they are a group that utilize Craigslist, but don't necessarily read the newspaper.
Right.
Sorry. Us older people.
I think we could actually talk with the school and maybe do.
Can we do some
myself-
promotion at the high school?
Myself or you going on and speak at an assembly or anything else to try and promote it, maybe at the beginning of the school year assembly that they may have, or what be it.
Sure.
We could also ask for it maybe to be added to the announcements when they do the announcements at school, just because I know they're gonna wanna look at that as a safety aspect too, for an alternative for them.
You know, maybe one of the
Maybe
ways
even
that we can do it is by directing them to our Facebook page.
Yep. Although high schoolers don't use Facebook anymore.
Really?
It's amazing.
That's for the old people.
That's for the old people.
Maybe even just like a little blurb public service announcement at the football games.
Sure.
That would get it out to the public. I don't know who's announcing football games now.
Well, I'll tell you, on my behalf, I'll ask to, for the, I'm at a loss for his title.
Jim?
Superintendent.
Jim Chandler.
If I can have a meeting with Mr. Chandler and maybe ask for his suggestions and make our comments as well and see if he can bolster that a
Help
little
us
bit.
get, the word out to the
So
teenagers.
I'll try and do that sometime this week, as a matter of fact.
Cool. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Are we gonna put signs out front that say, Craigslist sign? So people
Probably
know.
not. But
Okay.
we are, actually, there's a stencil coming to mark this area. They just haven't come in yet. So
Okay.
it's gonna be marked safe zone on the ground.
Okay.
And I think, if Tim put that out in the paper, at least the older folks will know what's going on. We'll
The
figure
next
out
time
what-
they buy something on Craigslist. I wanted the readers.
I read it too.
Awesome, thank you.
Sorry, making a note to myself. All right, next item on the agenda would be Resolution 311, a resolution engaging the services of WM Finance Strategies as a financial advisor and Gilmore and Bell PC as a special counsel and bond counsel. I believe this is the thing we spoke about with you about, Terry, correct, Nick? I'll entertain, unless there's any comments or questions further on that, I'll entertain a motion for the reading and passage of resolution number 311.
So moved.
Second?
Do you need to read that before we do the motions?
A resolution engaging the services of WM Financial Strategies and financial advisor and Gilmore Bell PC as special counsel and bond counsel.
So the motion was made by Alderman Ock, seconded by Alderperson Hawley. If I can have a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Dreyer,
Yes.
Alderman Frederick,
Yes.
Alderman Holly,
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Next item on the agenda will be bills to ordinance. Bill number 34-15. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 34-15.
Call for the first reading of bill number 34-15.
Second.
Motion made by Alderperson Hawley, seconded by Alderman Dreyer.
An ordinance authorizing execution of a contract with Graville Law Firm LLC in the city of Warrenton, Missouri for legal services.
Entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 34-15.
I move that we get the second reading and passage of bill number 34-15.
Second?
Motion made by Alderman Frederick, seconded by Alderperson Hawley.
An ordinance authorizing execution of a contract with Graville Law Firm LLC in the city of Warrenton, Missouri for legal services.
Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Dreyer,
Yes.
Alderman Frederick,
Yes.
Alderman Holly,
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly.
Yes.
Alderman Ock.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Ock, seconded by Alderman Frederick, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are so adjourned.